For 10 years, I was a faithful husband, not because I lacked temptation. I had plenty of chances to stray, but because I'd already lived that life before my marriage. In my younger years, I'd indulge in every reckless whim imaginable. Wild nights, 2 women at once, encounters that blurred the line between thrill and shame. By the time I hit 35, I was done. The excitement had burned out, leaving nothing but the desire for something real, steady, and honest. That was when I met her. I had just started a new job, and she happened to be in charge of the apartment next to mine. She was divorced, raising a child on her own, and impossibly beautiful. She carried herself with sharp confidence, yet there was warmth in her eyes that made you want to know her. We clicked instantly. The attraction was magnetic, the chemistry undeniable. What started as casual conversations turned into late-night talks, and before I knew it, we were caught up in a whirlwind romance that ended with wedding vows. For years, life felt perfect. We were inseparable, building a home together, welcoming another child into our lives. I never so much as glanced at another woman. The idea of cheating never crossed my mind. She was all I wanted. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. People say women have a sixth sense about men hiding secrets. Oddly enough, I woke up one morning with that same gut-deep certainty. Except it wasn't about me. I couldn't explain it. There was no proof, no evidence, just a quiet, stubborn conviction that something was wrong, that my wife was cheating. At first, I fought against the thought. There were no obvious signs, nothing to cling to except tiny changes in her behavior. Her smile seemed different. Her gaze felt distant, as if there was something invisible lodged between us. I wonder if I was losing my mind, inventing problems where there were none. But as the weeks passed, the changes became impossible to ignore. She wasn't glued to her phone or vanishing for hours without explanation. Instead, it was the subtler things. She started caring a lot more about how she looked. She joined a gym, went on a strict diet, dropped weight quickly, and her closet began filling with new dresses. Then came the lingerie, fishnet sets, daring and provocative, things she had never once worn for me. Her schedule shifted too. Late nights at work became common. Corporate events, new friends, endless outings. She was constantly away. And every time she came home, she was glowing, buzzing with energy, until she stepped inside and saw me. Then the light in her face would vanish, like it had been snuffed out. She began comparing me to other men, casually at first, then more directly, as though no part of me was enough anymore. The warmth we'd once shared during family evenings dissolved into awkward silences and stiff small talk. Every time I tried to reignite the spark, she seemed irritated, almost resentful. Whenever I tried to have an honest conversation, she shut down, answering with deflections or silence. I needed the truth. I couldn't accuse her without proof, but I couldn't keep living in the shadow of suspicion either. So I started watching. I installed a spy app on her phone, combing through her texts and calls. Nothing, just mundane work messages and friendly chatter. I placed a voice recorder in her car for 2 weeks. Hours upon hours of listening revealed nothing scandalous, only that my wife had a surprisingly good singing voice, knew more German than I thought, and swore like a truck driver behind the wheel. Just when I began thinking I was paranoid, fate stepped in. We were at a barbecue with friends when I went to grab charcoal from the car. That's when I noticed her car had a flat tire. I popped open the trunk to find a wrench, and instead found a second phone. My hands shook as I scrolled through it. In seconds, my stomach dropped. There they were, months of messages with another man. Flirty, intimate, unmistakable. My worst fears lay bare in her own words. Rage hit me like a wave. But I didn't explode. Not there, not in front of everyone. I forced myself to stay quiet, to sit down and let it simmer while my mind reeled. Why? What had I done wrong? The thought of pretending everything was fine made my skin crawl. No, I would not be the man who swallowed betrayal and smiled through it. I would end it, but not before making her feel a taste of the humiliation she'd served me. It wasn't hard to find her lover's address. And one evening, when she left to go see him, I followed. I parked right next to his car, blocking the driver's side door. The look on their faces when they saw me was priceless. Eyes wide, mouths hanging open. My wife reached for the door handle, but I slammed it shut before she could get out. She rolled the window down and started shouting at me, but I was already pulling out a can of pepper spray. One sharp burst through the open window was all it took. Chaos erupted inside the car, coughing, choking, flailing hands. I stood there for a moment, watching the panic, then calmly turned and walked back to my own car. I drove home without looking back. When I got there, I went straight to our bedroom. I didn't hesitate. Every piece of her clothing went into garbage bags. Every dress, every shoe, every scrap of lingerie. I hauled them outside and dumped them in the yard, slamming doors and drawers so hard I didn't care if the neighbors heard. The kids were with their grandmother, thankfully shielded from the sight of their father's fury. We divorced soon after. Everything was split evenly. I signed my share of the apartment over for the kids, who stayed with her. It's been a year now. We speak civilly, even gather for the children's birthdays. I remarried, and my focus is on the present, not the wreckage of the past. She no longer has the power to touch my peace. The chapter is closed, and I refuse to let her betrayal write the rest of my life.